Hello there, and welcome to the latest parent update from Urnsford Grange Community Academy. We are right now at the end of week 3 of lockdown, so I just want to give you a bit of an update in terms of how things are progressing in school and at home with the online learning, and just to respond to some of the parental feedback that we've had and the student feedback in the last 5 days. So, in terms of the lockdown, online learning, we have been really impressed with the level of engagement from the students. 97% of our entire school is engaging in the online learning and they're submitting work. So it's not just that figure doesn't just come around from students who have logged on, but it's actually the number of students that are submitting work and work of good quality. So that is a phenomenal achievement. So first of all, I want to say just a huge well done, both to the students and also to the parents, because I know that without your support, this wouldn't be happening. So well done and thank you for that. In terms of the development of the lessons, our staff have undergone quite a bit of professional development, certainly since the last lockdown, but even now in the first 3 weeks of this term, we've had quite a few sessions where after school at the end of the day, staff are engaging in professional development. We've spent some of our COVID catch-up funding on Google licenses. So that just gives you enhanced features on Google Classroom, which means that staff soon will be able to have breakout rooms for students. So within the lesson, students will be able to go and work in smaller groups, so making it far more like a real live lesson that we might have at school where group work is part of the lesson, which is great. Parent feedback, we did send out a link to a Google form on Monday of this week, and we've had 253 responses so far from parents. So thank you very much to those of you who have responded. If you haven't yet had a chance to respond, then we are still looking at that feedback. So feel free to send your responses in. I just wanted to answer a few queries that had come in from that feedback. So the first one relates to devices. One of the questions was asking what your child was actually accessing their online learning on. So what we've done over the last few months actually, we've been trying to find out those students who are struggling to access a device like a Chromebook or a laptop, which is really what they need to be using to access the work. And so over this last half term, we've actually managed to issue 131 DFE devices, so those devices do exist. So we've had in 131, and we managed to issue those to students who have been working from mobile phones. We've also got our own Chromebook scheme running, where parents can opt in to paying a monthly fee for their own Chromebook. Now, there is a link coming out about that again sometime this week, possibly even today actually, if you are interested in signing up to that Chromebook scheme, because we still have some Chromebooks available that are much cheaper to buy from school, because we bought them in bulk rather than going out and buying your own. So please do get in touch if you would like one of those. And for anyone that is still working off a mobile phone, we have asked our house heads to make sure that they're contacting parents and students and finding out if there's anyone else out there that does need access to a Chromebook. In terms of screen time, that was something that was raised as a concern from parents, and that's completely understandable. We are doing online lessons for 5 hours a day, so that is a DFE requirement that we have to be providing 5 hours, at least 5 hours worth of work per day. Now, that doesn't all have to be online, but we've found this time around that by following our normal school timetable, that is far easier for students and for staff in terms of making sure that they're well organised and that the lessons are taking place as planned. Now, what we have done, we did last time we had this parental briefing, I did mention that we had asked staff to cut their lessons down by 10 minutes to allow the students an opportunity to get away from the screen. We're doing more and more training now in terms of showing staff how to actually teach a lesson where there's a little bit of staff input, but then the staff take a step back and allow the students to work independently. That's quite hard because we're so used to teaching from the front and teaching in classrooms and being available all the time. But we are looking at developing that. So the teacher will still be there, but they won't necessarily be asking the student to be looking at the screen for the entire 50 minutes of that lesson. The other thing that I've talked to students, certainly in Year 11 about, and I will do to other students in assemblies next week, is the 20-20-20 rule. Now, that rule states that every 20 minutes, you should look away from your screen, look at something roughly 20 feet away, so about 6 meters away, for 20 seconds and change the focus from a short-term focus to a long-term focus, and that is apparently proven to help with headaches, migraines, what have you, that some people are experiencing from just so much screen time. Another query was about PE lessons. Some of you have quite rightly said, my child is online all of the time, so for PE lessons, can they go out for a walk? Can they get some fresh air, or can they do some exercise? I spoke to the PE department about this, obviously went straight to them and said, well, what are we actually doing for our online lessons? Because as far as I was concerned, they were doing practical lessons with the students, and they're actually giving the children a choice. So every lesson, the children have a choice to either access an article or a documentary and answer questions online, or they can do the practical lessons. So the teachers are actually doing a practical every single lesson. So if your child's telling you that it's only online lessons and online written work for PE, then that's not strictly true. They do have a choice. So that hopefully answers the questions about PE lessons. Homework, this is a really interesting one because obviously we want to be challenging the students. We want to be making sure that they're not missing out on learning that they would ordinarily be having, but we do appreciate that a lot of time is being spent online. Therefore, we have made a decision not to actually give students homework. Now, that's quite a controversial decision, and some of you might not be happy with that. Some of you might be delighted by that, because we did get completely opposite end of the spectrum in terms of some people are saying we're setting too much homework, some people saying we're not setting enough. So what I would like to direct you to is the DFE approved online learning forum, which is the Oak National Academy. Now, Oak National Academy is made up of a number of lessons covering a range of subjects and topics, really easily accessible, and they will have extra lessons, extra work that your child can do. So they just select their year group, select their subject, and they can go away, and there's loads and loads of lessons and extra resources on that Oak National Academy website, and that's from the DFE. So it's approved as a good resource to use. So please feel free to encourage your child to go onto that if you feel that they need more work. Concerns regarding attendance to lessons. So a few parents have said, how do I know my child's attending every lesson? What if they're not submitting the work? I don't know. I'm not getting any feedback from the school in that sense. Well, if you're not getting any feedback, that's a good thing, because we are actually contacting all parents of students who aren't accessing the lessons. So we take registers after every lesson, and for anyone that's not handing in work, so not submitting work or not actually even attending the lesson, then parents are getting follow-up phone calls. So don't concern yourself too much with that, because we will be in touch. Student feedback, a massive 402 responses from the students, which was great. And there was a surprising number of students that were really enjoying the online learning, that actually preferred online learning to being in school. Some of the things that the students raised as concerns were their timetables and breaks and lunches. They'd rather have a little bit longer for lunch, a little bit longer for break, and they'd like to start later in the day. Unfortunately, because we do have a number of students who are working in school, so the key worker students who are in school, they are following the same timetables as they would do on a normal school day. So because all of our lessons are live, we have to stick with our normal timetables and our normal breaks and lunches. As I said earlier, we are cutting the lessons down to 50-minute lessons, so you are getting a little bit of extra break time there. So hopefully you can understand why we're having to continue with the timetable as it is. Again, some children asked the question, this is the same thing that parents said as well, not every child is confident and likes to ask questions in the open forum, so not everybody likes to use the chat bar or unmute themselves and talk during a lesson. So we're trialling the use of a Google form where students will be able to ask questions and no one else in the room will see it. It will just be the teacher that sees that. So that should be launching middle of next week, after we've done a little bit of research into how effective that is. And then just a lot of appreciation from the students for the efforts of the teachers and the pastoral staff. And a couple of my favourite quotes from students were asked the question, what could we do to make the experience of the online learning even better? One of them said, nothing, you're all doing the best you can, which I thought was very sweet and very kind. And then another one was, don't improve on remote learning, just send us back to school. So we would love to have you back to school. We really, really would love to have the children back to school. And when it's safe and when we're allowed to, we're really excited for that to happen. National updates, so the exam consultation for those students, particularly in year 11 and year 13, although of course we do have students in year 9 and year 10 that should have been sitting GCSE exams this year. We are still waiting for that exam consultation to finish, and then we will know by the end of February exactly how grades for this year are being awarded, so we will let you know as soon as we know about that. Lateral flow testing, so that was the mass testing centres that we've had to set up in schools. Originally, the government had wanted us to test anyone who was a close contact of anyone that was a positive. I was always a little bit unconvinced by that, because what that meant was you were just waiting and waiting for people to come into school and potentially be positive, and we just tested them every day. Thankfully, the government have now said that actually that's not best practice, and those lateral flow tests will not be used anymore for close contacts, but we will be doing lateral flow testing of all staff who are in school and all students who are in school twice a week. So if we do identify any positive cases, we will send them and their bubble immediately home. The other thing that government have said is that they will be giving 2 weeks notice before students are asked to return to school. So that will be helpful for us from a school perspective, to make sure that we can plan effectively, and also for parents, obviously, to make sure that you are ready to send your child back to school and you can prepare them for that. Finally, coming up, we have our online options process. So that is continuing. Obviously, we are still a little bit in limbo in terms of what's going to happen with particularly our year 9 and our year 10 options, because we are reliant on what's going to happen with the GCSE awarding this year. So we will get onto the year 9 and 10 online options process very soon. We have a year 9 online parents evening this Thursday, in fact, the 28th of January. And we have an online year 10 parents evening on the 18th of March. So those events are coming up. And then finally, Urnsford Excellence. We'd like to finish with a bit of a celebration. I talked earlier on about the high levels of student engagement. So now I've broken this down by year group so you can see just how hard our students are working. Year 7 and year 8, a massive 99% of students are getting all their work in, working really hard, engaging actively in the online lessons. In year 9, that dips slightly to 98%. Year 10, we have quite a dip to 94%. So if you're a parent of a year 10 student, please can you make sure that they are working, that they are online, they are accessing their learning. It's particularly important for year 10s, actually, because they have suffered quite a bit in the last year, really, due to the absence from school. And they, of course, will be sitting exams next summer in 2022. So it's really important that they are now engaging in their learning. And then year 11's 96% of our year 11 students. So again, it could be a little bit higher, but overall they are phenomenal figures. So huge well done to the students. And we will be saying a huge well done to those top engagers through the awards assemblies that we will have coming up before the end of term. So 3 weeks down, 3 weeks to go. Keep up the good work, keep up the support of your child, keep contacting us if there's anything that we can do to support you or to support your child. But most importantly of all, stay safe, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you.